Day 4, so we're really counting down. So we are coming closer and closer to the finish line. Yeah.
I suppose the parallel there, right, is you talk about people following sport because there's something to speak about around the water cooler, there's something to speak about on the school ground, there's something to speak about in social settings. It's a conversation piece. And then I suppose the same thing when you look at something like Cannes. If you were there, you're going to have some very key conversations. Other than the fact maybe that you weren't there, or some of the trends that you've picked up in social media but I think it's in the case of Cannes, it's so much longer. In short, it shapes the culture of the creative industry.
100%. We'll have a lot to talk about. But hey, so Bafana going to the next round. The mood is South Africa is in a very celebratory day. I think some of the people are not even going to work today, so it's crazy. Yeah.
Over to the French Riviera.
Hello.
Going in all different directions. Good morning.
Hello.
Hi.
We thought you guys were sleeping in this morning.
We wanted to.
Did we say we were going to do that?
But we have some commitments, and that's
I went for a run.
She went for a run. She's always up on time.
Around down the pier, it was wonderful.
Oh, fantastic. I thought around the deck of the ship, perhaps.
Oh no, yeah, we cleaned that last night.
More like doing laps and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so bright and early. Day 4 of Cannes, after what seemed to be a very eventful day 3. How are you ladies feeling this morning? Can I get you to shift in just a little?
Yes.
Yeah, there we go.
That's very tight. Yeah, we're good.
There we go.
Day 3 was incredible, but very, very hot.
Yeah.
We started the day with Fran's. There was a panel discussion at Kantar, and Fran was one of the speakers, which was really, really amazing, actually. It was one of the most insightful talks we actually went to, and it was all by South African women.
Absolutely.
So we talked about how South Africa, essentially Kantar hosted it, and we were asked to talk about how we've been able to do things in South Africa that somebody globally might not have thought of, or what kind of insights we have here that we can offer the world. And it was really interesting. Kinsani Nabanda from Nedbank presented, Bridget Harper from Volkswagen, and then Fiona, I forget to say, from Spotify.
Fiona from head of music at Spotify.
She was fascinating.
She was amazing.
Fascinating.
So she was saying, she was talking about Maria McCloy and Amapiano about, but also just about, in the early days of Kwaito, Kwaito came out of house. And then it got picked up by Maria in this country. Well, and it's now, as Amapiano, like things like Afrobeats are actually global phenomena. But she was just, South Africans, the upshot of that is South Africans will take a bet on something out of gut feel. They won't wait for all the data. So Maria had started backing and promoting that, and others had started backing and promoting that music in this country. And it grew. I mean, it's grown to be a global phenomenon. But back then, it started small.
Yeah. Very small. And she was talking about how with Amapiano, there was no infrastructure, there was no budget behind it. The people were sharing music like on very, small platforms like WhatsApp, and they'll be playing as DJs at typical restaurants or like lounges in Soweto, just to get that music out there. And it grew from there, and now the whole world is talking about it. And she also mentioned a great insight that on Spotify, 74% of the consumers that listen to my piano playlist are actually global and not South African. And we only 26% of South Africans that listen to the Mapiano playlist, which is amazing.
Spotify.
On Spotify, yes, on Spotify, which is amazing because obviously it's a massive platform. And it goes to show that something is big to us and very rooted in our culture, it's exposed to other people outside and are consuming it. That was very inspiring for us.
She talks about how they compiled, she was living in Dubai at the time, and she started hearing about Amapiano, and they compiled the very first Spotify playlist of it, because there hadn't been a playlist for it on Spotify, and they'd compiled. Just took off. So I mean, that was really, and yeah, that was just, South Africans will have a gut feel about something and take a bit and bet on it. We won't wait for the data and double check, and that was really lovely as well.
Yeah, it made you so proud to be a South African yesterday, sitting in that forum.
Sure.
I was sitting next to a Mexican guy, and he was chatting to me, and he said, like, just what he sees about South Africa is like, we like the next powerhouse, and I was like, wow, okay. Wow. That's great to hear from, we'll take that. I said, look, we have our issues. We have many, many issues. But yeah, it was just lovely to hear that from a Mexican. Yeah.
I think talking about the whole South Africa, even this morning, rather, I mean, we also went through to the second round as Bafana won this morning.
I know.
Did you ever watch the game? Hey. Did you watch the game though?
I didn't watch.
No, I was sleeping.
No, but I think a lot.
It was very early though, eh? Yo.
Well, no, but I mean, I'm sure a lot of people stayed out of the jaw and then watched.
Yes,
They did.
yes.
I was out yesterday, and people were staying up for the match, because I was up late, but I was back because I was very tired. But people were staying up just to watch the match. And when I woke up this morning, I saw how amazing that we did. That's amazing, actually. We made history.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah. First time, right? Exactly. Now we thought you might have had a yacht watch party.
We had a few actually.
Okay.
We couldn't get an extension cable long enough because we plugged the TV in on the shore, and then we couldn't. Tricky.
You see, but this is the South Africanism. We make plans for things.
Yeah,
we innovate. It's innate.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So we were talking this morning, and we were just before you joined us, and we were saying it's interesting now. We're over the hump almost of Cannes Lions Week, and it felt like yesterday was a culmination in many ways, whether it was awards, whether it was talks, etc. Not to take anything away from days 4 and 5, but I'm sure that at this point now, people they've taken some learnings, they've taken some highlights, and even as your heads start turning towards returning home, we were just wondering, personally, professionally, what is being at Cannes? What will that mean for you and for your clients, actually, and for the agency as you step into the post-Cannes routine again, I suppose? What are you bringing back? What impact are you looking to make through the agency? What impact is the agency looking to make to your clients? And what should any creative who's been at Cannes be looking to build up from the experience? Sorry, long question, but I'm sure you get it.
So, yeah, it's a big question. And I think what I'm taking out so far now is that the most beautiful ideas that are winning still really solve a proper human problem. The ones that really stand out for me and really touch you deeply are the ones that address the real issues. And I think I'd like to take that home and try and encourage clients to see what kind of issues we can tap into and look at from a business perspective at solving in a way. And then the other thing is that I'm also taking away is, as a country, we just need to become more and more confident. We've got it. We really have got it. I just cannot believe the energy around South Africans. And I feel like, and maybe I'm being biased because I am South African, but we have a very specific energy that when we enter a room, I don't know what it is, it's almost like it's contagious. There's this warmth that just comes off South Africans. And I think we need to put that into our work. And that's kind of what I would like to bring back at this point. I could change tomorrow. There'll be more. Don't worry.
Yeah, nearly. I think, I mean, when I was looking at those case studies, I think the one thing we might be missing as a country is that kind of scale of execution. So if I look at a lot of the work, so we were watching PR Lions last night, and then direct and social and creator. And I mean, the work that won last night, you could just see the size of the scale. Even, you know, Peru won a Grand Prix again last night for the piece with the point of sale, that you could go and block your card. But again, they did that across, that's not a small country, and they did that across thousands of points. So they seem to, you know, they execute that stuff at scale. And then those case studies just show reams and reams of news reports where people are talking about. So the credibility of the thing isn't in question because of the scale at which they executed. So that was an interesting one, and that is something marketers need to collaborate with us with, you know, on in order to get that scale out there. There's also a sense of humor. If I look at, they are solving problems, but there's often
there's definitely
a sense of humor.
There
was a fabulous piece from, I'm just looking at, it was from Colombia, the outdoor clothing and hiking, camping gear.
It was great.
They said, if you can prove the earth is flat, we'll give you absolutely everything. You can win like the whole company. And they said, you have to document it. You got to get out there and you got to make film and you got to go. And I mean, that thing, of course, I mean, first of all, impossible competition to win. But secondly, it's a way of getting user-generated content that's very cool. And it makes a great case study, right?
And tapped right into the brand. It's such a
tactical and fun way.
And of course, there are people who, you know, there is a flat earth society. There are people who, you know, so they just say, well, go out and prove it. And then if you prove it, we'll give you the whole company. You can get the whole, which I just thought, and essentially it was a UGC campaign, but the way they went into it, it cost them no more money than it would have otherwise. You know, go out and take photos of your holiday and send them in, you know, like, but this one was, that spin on it was just genius. It was
absolutely. Well, it got people talking, got people involved.
Yeah, of course, it's such a great headline. Yeah.
But another thing we should probably take back with us is a lot of the great ideas are tapping right into culture in terms of a cultural moment. Like, I'm trying to think which ones. The Heineken voice notes is such a thing right now. We all use voice notes, and it's how they tapped into that. Another one was the Pope thing, where Popeyes used it as the Pope was coming on to speak to the people, but they used it as, what's it, Pope Yes.
So it was the selection, the election of the new Pope.
Yes.
And the hashtag was Pope Yes when the cardinals had agreed.
And you put that together, it reads Popeyes.
Exactly.
That moment, and it blew up. So what it is the idea is
crazy.
Just got to tap into a moment, and then what happens is it explodes. And the people start to own the idea, and that's the power.
But you've got to be on top of that, because Popeyes, that was one of those things where they did nothing.
Yeah,
the truth existed. The hashtag Pope Yes,
and
they didn't make that. Then somebody.
And
the other one was the Grand Prix again. So VML London won the Grand Prix, and again, the CCO of VML London is a South African, Ryan McManus. They won for Kit Kat. So remember there was that heist where they hijacked the delivery van with the Kit Kats. They leapt all over that.
All over it. So clever. And
they were,
and the people own the campaign, because what they do is they buy a Kit Kat and then they had to scan the code on the Kit Kat to see if theirs was part of that heist.
Which of course
Yeah,
but I mean, everybody, you know what I mean?
It becomes
fantastic.
So you just start it, and then it just goes
explodes.
And the thing is, they didn't do the heist. Right? They didn't.
No, they didn't.
They didn't have to. It happened, and then they were like, they made up this bullshit thing where scan your Kit Kat, and then you can send us the photo, and like we'll tell you whether it was actually involved. You know, like and of course everyone did it, and everyone bought Kit Kats who may not have bought Kit Kats because, like, oh well, let me see. Yeah, and it's again this clever opportunism.
Very clever. And then the one was Sarah V. It was hilarious.
Oh geez, that was
hilarious.
He's
the player? You know, the basketball player.
Oh geez.
Yeah, it's what's his Kevin Durant.
And they took shots of his shoes, and you see his socks, but then just a piece of his leg was sticking out, and it was so dry.
Ashy.
So Sarah V jumped all over that, and he became, what's it they call it? The new face of legs.
Wow.
They put this pineapple legs after he had used the
very
cream.
long,
Gorgeous,
very
long.
long
It was exceptional.
Fantastic.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
But again, opportunistic moment. Somebody the social media team probably were the first to notice that picture. Somebody probably put up, and those ankles were
They were crusty.
They were great.
like, dried up mud flat. That
Yeah.
So weighed in it. Like
Oh,
he
man,
weighed in on it. He took the joke. He loved it. He was so involved.
They had him reading the tweets, but like deadpan.
He was very authentic about his response.
Hilarious.
It
So
was
good.
hilarious. I absolutely love that.
And I mean, seriously, you know,
If I can be shameless about just putting a spotlight on that, I mean, that's code. That's CODE. Contemporary, opportunity, distinctive, and the execution is right on the money. It's fantastic.
you want to, you know, it's so easy. If you get that, it's so easy. So if you think about what, if you see that opportunity, it's actually quite, I mean, obviously they executed it at scale, so they put a lot of work into it, but it actually just flows, you know.
But it's also, you've got to act really fast.
Yeah.
You need a brave marketer,
And
because the minute you spot that, you got to go, because it's now. And you need you need your marketer to be on board and ready.
Trust as well.
Yeah.
So that leads me to Bofo. Sorry, I'll give you a second now. I've got a lot that's bubbling up. But that leads me to the next question, and that is, does brave creative need a brave client?
Oh, sure.
100%.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they need to be willing. And the reason why it needs a brave client, the client needs to be able to trust the creative process, to trust the agency they're working with. Because if there's no trust between the client and the agency, no work will go out. The trust is important. Because at the end of the day, it's a relationship, right? And the relationship is built on trust. If you don't have that trust, nothing will go out.
Also, though, I think sometimes we don't really know what brave looks like.
Yeah.
And we think it's, but actually, I was thinking about it yesterday based on a sort of a debrief that we got during the day. It was more about, there needs to be fewer lines of feedback in your revert mail. You need to be that client who goes, yes, like just goes yes. So that's what bravery looks like. It's going yes without adding a whole lot of caveats. So we've had debriefs where the client's like yes, but then there's a whole string of caveats, which means you actually aren't
not a yes.
You're not going to do that.
Yes, it's undone.
Yeah, it's not a yes. It's partially yes. It's a no, pretty much.
How do we change it?
It's like we like it, but, and then that just turns to vanilla. Someone said yesterday, playing it safe is the worst choice, because who likes a green salad? You know, and it's quite funny. I love that.
I mean, I like a green salad.
I do, but it depends on the dressing, okay? It depends on the dressing.
No, that's fair enough. Fair enough.
A bit of personality.
Absolutely. It is that thing, though. It's like that. Nobody knows what bravery looks like because we say bravery, you know, and everyone thinks about building. But it is that your reverts need to be 2 lines. Yes, and maybe this is how we make it better. Not a whole like.
So
I think it's an overthinking thing when it comes to the client, because I think when they.
So, you know, you got to understand their side of the coin sometimes is that they obviously have to report into a lot of people. So I think it's important. Yes, clients have to be brave, but the only way they're going to be brave is if you take them on the journey with you and you build that relationship, and they know that you love their brand or are behind their brand as much as they are. Care about their brand and really know the ethos of their brand, so that the ideas you do come with, even though we may term them brave or whatever, they still encapsulate the ethos of the brand, so that it makes it a little bit easier for them to firstly buy into it and secondly sell it upwards, you know, if they need to do that. So that's important.
I also think that they need to understand what the implications of feedback are sometimes. Like if you play some feedback through to its logical conclusion, this is what this is going to look like. So when you say this is kind of the logical conclusion of how that will look if we do it.
Yeah, and I think the best clients actually are the ones, if they do have concerns, they almost sit one-on-one with us and we talk about it. And, you know, we say to them, if we change it like this, it compromises this, so that we kind of explain why we've ideated it in a specific kind of way. Like having those conversations across a table to iron it out and to keep the idea in its purest form is, for me, those are the best marketers. They have concerns, so they don't just put jotted down notes and send an email off. They phone you and they say, chat about this, these are my concerns, and then you can say why, what, and then you get around it, and then together you make great work. I think that's really, really important.
What is important, though, is that you have to bring them into the process at the very beginning. So it's not just a matter of us going back, taking the brief, going back, doing the work, and then presenting it back and then going away. I think if they're part of the process from the onset,
you're right.
Having those conversations, those debrief sessions are very, very good when they are actually vocal as well, and not just in a piece of paper sent through by email.
Yeah,
because how long? Sorry, I mean, because the thing also is that how long does it take for agency and client to get to that point? Because sometimes when you onboard a new client, those that kind of like a synergy in terms of like how you guys talk, it's still not there yet, And I think, and sometimes I think client can be feeling like, oh wow, we are being bombarded with all these big ideas that we don't even understand. How long does that path take for both parties to be comfortable, particularly the client?
So I think it depends on the agency, and it depends on the individuals in the room and how the questions that you ask the client when you say you get a new client. It's the type of questions that you're asking them about their business that's the most important. I think if you just bombard them with ideas and then they don't know what your intentions are, you've got to understand someone's business. And I think I think people don't get really underneath the surface of the business and what the client's ambitions are, what they're trying to do with their business. It's really getting to that. And I think the minute you do that, there's already a sense of trust. And then you go from it. It also makes your work better because you can't just throw ideas at them and not understand the business. I think the minute you show the client that you're actually really interested in what they do and what they're trying to achieve, you're really building trust from then onwards.
I also think there's time that you need to maybe be confrontational a little bit. It is that thing. Yeah, we do need to show that we understand and show love, but I also think sometimes we maybe don't confront as much as we should. Susan Cradle, we met with Susan Cradle on Tuesday. And she was saying, like, we were talking about that phenomenon whereby all the tech companies like Spotify and Meta, they have rules where the brand has to appear in the first 3 seconds, but the actual product or the logo, not just the distinctive assets associated with the brand. And she said she said to a client, if I tell you a joke and I put the punchline right at the beginning, you know what I mean? Like, are you going to remember? Yeah, if I don't do the setup, that punchline is not going to mean anything.
Yeah.
If I do the setup, and your brand is the thing that comes in and makes it funny and lands the joke or lands the story, like it's much more memorable. If I tell you the first and then the rest of it, you're not going to remember that joke. And I think it was such a brilliant way. It's confrontational without being offensive because it's just putting it in a way that maybe you hadn't thought of, which I love.
Yeah.
Onboarding is also very important. Being onboarded from the very beginning of the relationship with the client, when they onboard you on the plans that you're working on, and also getting that understanding of what they're trying to achieve. And also us as the agency, because technically what always happens is that we get onboarded by the client and we don't always take them along our processes and our journey from the beginning, which is also very important, because once you build that foundation at the very beginning, it becomes easier to build that relationship and to trust each other in the work process.
And also getting the right people in the room when you do present your ideas, because sometimes some marketers are a little bit junior, and then they kind of tend to make the idea a little bit safe because they don't want, when they want to be seen as doing the right thing.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes it's important to have the right people in the room when you're presenting your
They
ideas.
haven't earned the license yet.
Exactly. Yeah, and then to push it. If you really believe in an idea, go for it. Fight for it.
And clients do say that. They're not opposed to that. They do say, if you believe that this is the right thing, we need to provide, original and some more context, just so that they understand what that thinking is and how it's going to benefit the business. So there are some brave clients, but if we just as agencies spend some time, bringing them into the process, better explaining exactly what we're trying to achieve and how it'll benefit the brand and the purpose, it's doable.
Cool. Jeez, I think today we just on case studies and case studies and case studies.
I can give
Today
you
we are
there are so many beautiful ones here, really. I mean, we've really been exposed to some amazing stuff here. It's really, really fantastic.
Yeah.
Awesome.
How was Pete yesterday? I saw Pete had a talk yesterday.
Pete?
Curry.
We didn't get to see Pete Curry. We had talks.
The story of our lives.
We've just been running around here.
The story of your life.
And then the YouTube lounge. Did you check it out?
We haven't got to the YouTube lounge, but my God, are there creators everywhere. So we actually went to the DoorDash kind of setup yesterday. I can't believe. You walk in there and they have a setup where you just get free merch like you can't believe. Lacoste towels, sunglasses, not just any merch, Dior perfume.
Luxe, over the top, expensive.
And there's a setup where you can have your makeup done. So it's every kind of brand setup is created for these creators.
It's like a giant Instagram trap. The entire, I mean, the level of construction of attention to detail. They've set up semi-permanent structures that are absolutely beautiful. They're all designed for content.
Wow.
It was something that they did that I noticed. It was personal. They had postcards on the wall, but very quirky and cute postcards where you take one and then you write a message to anyone at home, right? And make a note and then also give the address, and they will send those postcards to
back home.
I mean, obviously, we don't know when that's going to happen, but if they said it's
South Africa.
I definitely did it.
Well, with the post office being completely defunct in South Africa, we might have an issue with that.
We might have an issue with that. Eh? No, but they can try maybe the Korea guy.
Yes, he'll handle your package. So but it's astonishing how, and that was the thing for us this year, is that there's always been beaches. So a lot of the companies will set up little areas on all the beaches where you can sit, and then there's sort of like a tent, and but the level of production of these spaces this year, and it's also that the creators can create. DoorDash is absolutely beautiful. Every single angle is photographable and Instagrammable, and Amazon
as well. The setup is phenomenal. There's a beautiful coffee shop, there's a library area, there's free ice cream, there's a sorbet store. It's like it's mad what these brands are doing. The amount of money that is being injected here from brands is
shocking to my
apparently it's more profitable than the film festival now for Cannes.
Wow.
So that's how it's escalated, which is big. Hey, wow, that is big. Yeah.
It's almost two worlds. So there's the Palais, which has got all the talks and the
work.
Yeah, and then there's this
serious stuff.
There's this like outside where and I mean you can't walk fast because everyone's on their phones.
Yes.
Everyone's
right.
Yeah.
I noticed that.
You try and get anywhere.
I noticed that.
Yeah.
They look into you. And
what is that? Taking content.
They're taking content, and also yourself, you're on the phone, you're kind of trying to GPS where you're going, and then as you're walking, you bump into someone. There's always someone that There's a lot of South Africans. I've never been here before. It's my first time coming, but we've been represented here. There's a lot of South Africans.
And today what's lovely is the South African photo. We always do this official. Well, I did that. Always arranges this photo that we do. So that's happening today at 5 o'clock.
Yes.
So all the South Africans, the expats, everybody. We all gathering and we're going to pose.
Great stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's us for today. And I think we can carry on for hours and hours every single day. There's just so much happening. There's just so much feedback. There's just so much to absorb and to take on board. That if we didn't let you go, we'd keep you locked down for the whole day.
You wouldn't see anything.
You wouldn't come and report to us.
Right? Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, yesterday I couldn't. It slipped my mind. It was Malcolm Gladwell was interviewing Questlove. Yes, that was
Okay.
good.
Well, in theory, but Questlove just spoke about his process. It was wonderful. Because, he talks about how digression and distraction are part of it, which I absolutely relate to. And so when he, it takes him 20 minutes to answer a question, then it's about yacht rock and Billy Joel and then like Anthony Bourdain, and then there's a whole, which I loved. I could have listened to it for hours, but they only had half an hour. But yeah.
All right.
Guys, yeah, thanks.
Thank
Thank you so much for today. Cheers, bye.
Let us let you get back to day 4 and look forward to connecting with you tomorrow.
Yeah.
You look forward to
Cheers.
it. Bye-bye.
Yep. I think it spoke for itself. I think that the human element, the creative side of things, the process. I absolutely loved the South Africanism. Again, that is that's coming through in these conversations, or in today's conversation especially. And there is part of me that wonders: is that because of the history that we've come through? Is that just the nature of who we are? Is that something identifiable? But what's very clear is that it's a characteristic and a property that is noticed outside of South Africa. It's not things we're saying about ourselves. It's what
we are getting. We're getting
exactly.
It's funny. Yeah, it's actually funny how Ro was talking about how being a South African, you walk in the room and then the room just lights up, and then people tell you how wonderful South Africans are. I think South Africans are just phenomenal people. I think we just have that like energy that no one can actually ignore. So yeah. I mean, even for my, when I travel, I get there like, yo, where are you from? South Africa? Oh wow. Okay, we can see, we can tell. I'm like, oh, okay, how can you tell? It's without even saying anything.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's part of the legacy we have to live up to. It's part of the stories we have to tell creatively, and that's part of the good work we have to do with clients.
But the reality of it is that we need to really believe in ourselves as a nation, as a people, and speak more from our voice as South African. Because I often see a lot of our work or a lot of our Africanism being told, but not so in the most authentic South African way. And for me, that's a problem. No, guys, let's be through and through. Let's be South Africans through and through, not trying to mix and accommodate other people or other nations. No, let's just be us. And at the minute you do that, you then you come out tops. Especially look now with the whole Amapiano is through and through South African, and that's where it actually caught fire, because no one has seen that anywhere else. This is just
exactly.
It's South African. You can't compare it to anything else but South Africa.
And yet you see people in Southeast Asia, people in the UK, people in Australia dancing Amapiano moves. Yeah. Right? And it's because it's just become it's international. But it's because we've been telling our story. And I think one of the big challenges we have is that we need to continue telling our story.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Cool, man. Day 4.
Here we go.
CXC, that's culture.